Hi everyone, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I turned this into this. So let's get started. It all started with 50 lengths of 5mm dowel. I took my pen blank jig, which gave me a stop block to work off of, as well as a nice fence to support the pieces. But even at 2 lengths at a time, it still took a while to cut them all down to size, but I got there eventually. I didn't like the rough edges the bandsaw left, so it was time to sand. To make life easier, I put my sanding attachment on my lathe. With this I can set the speed and also change the grits where needed. I plugged in my ISO tunes and just got on with sanding. With about 900 pieces in total, it took me quite a while to sand them all down. After an hour or so, the sanding was done and it was time for colour. For this I drafted in some help, with mine and Gemma's kids hanging around. I sat them down and they started separating out all 900 pieces into 7 equal pots. We added the colour. I left the colour to soak in for a few days in the hope that it would soak all the way through. It didn't, unfortunately, but I didn't want to waste what I had, so I carried on going. I considered standing all the pieces up on end, but decided I'm old enough as it is and wanted to finish this bowl sometime this year. So I just threw them all into the mould and just left them how they were. And I think it turned out all alright in the end anyway. After I finished rummaging around and messing with them, it was time for the epoxy. For this I use Epodex's Eco Resin. It can go up to 1 centimetre deep and it sets up in about 24 hours when it's in the pressure tank. I grabbed a random pot of colour mica powder and added it to the mix and stirred thoroughly, and poured it all over the dowel ready to go into the pressure tank. The pressure tank is set to about 65 psi and makes it so that any bubbles are virtually invisible. The next day it was all set up and ready to turn, screwed on a faceplate and it was over to the lathe. I didn't fancy being hit in the face by flying dowels, so I trimmed off the top before starting. I'll stop rambling on now and let you enjoy. Some small cracks had started to appear in the piece, so I mixed up some Epodex 5-minute epoxy and added the same mica powder to match the colour up. I wanted to seal up the cracks just in case things started to get worse. A quick tidy up of the epoxy glue and it was time for more sanding. I started with a sanding attachment on my power drill and then worked my way up through the grits until it was time for finish. For this project I used Chestnut's friction polish. You apply the finish with the lathe off, then start the lathe and turn the speed up and just watch the shine come through. I applied 2 coats of friction polish, then off lathe. The piece got a good soak in some chopping board oil for added protection. Just look at that shine. I'm really happy with how this one came out. Even though the colours didn't soak all the way into the dowels, the colours and patterns are still awesome. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like and share. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and come and find me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.